like trying to weigh my options. I was at a bar in St. Helena called Anna's, and like every Thursday I'd go there and sing karaoke.
Yeah, shout out to Anna's.
Oh,
Thursday
man.
karaoke
Mike,
night was so much fun.
Thank you for everything. When I left Napa, Mike the bartender pulled me in the back and like he was like, he and I took a shot together.
Dude,
back
Mike the bartender.
Yo,
shout out to him.
Oh my God.
Just
fucking
the nicest
amazing
guy.
So fucking nice. Great attitude. But he pulled me into the back of the bar. I was like, hey man, I'm really going to miss you. Thank you so much for everything. Cause I would go there and tip 20% every time, no matter what. Right. Drink stuff like that. I was like, does this mean I'm an alcoholic if the bartender is sad to see me go? Does this mean I've been at this bar too much? But I met, so I was there shooting pool one night and I met someone named Coleman Griffin.
Hey, Coleman.
Who, I talked to him about Meadowood and, I think it was him and Carl, they were playing pool.
Yeah.
And Carl fucking didn't want anything to do with me, understandably at the time. I was like, "Oh, you're a chef. That's so cool." The restaurant. Carl's like, "I don't want any of that bullshit."
Shout out to Carl Alexander out there in New York. He said, "Fuck off, boy. Don't talk to me,
dude." Yeah, the fucking funniest, one of the funniest people I know.
Yeah,
Carl, biggest lemon twister, fucking shit talker I know in my life.
Oh, 100%.
So Coleman hooked me up. I told him, I was like, I'm interested in staging at the restaurant.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, cool. Here, let me put you in touch with Jessica Shelton.
Yeah, good on him, man.
Honestly, like,
he didn't need to do that at all.
He didn't need to. And and obviously too, like at that time in a lot of restaurants, there was this culture of like, if you had someone stage at the restaurant, they better be fucking good. They better not fuck anything up, you know?
Don't embarrass me kind
of
mentality.
Like, don't fuck this up for me.
Yeah.
Like what fucking Howard said.
Yeah, exactly.
So Coleman, introduced me to Jessica Shelton, was just like, send me your resume. And I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll send it in. And then I also was like, fuck that. I'm going to go up to the back door of the restaurant and drop off my resume.
Right.
Which I always identified with you because you did like the same thing. You just fucking showed up there and worked.
The old
and
Dave method.
That's if you're persistent,
just
especially
show up.
If you're outclass. When I was feeling very outclassed, I was like, I'm going to be undeniable.
That's how I get the ladies too. So outside their house, I just show up.
That's
and, right.
Flowers.
That's false.
Chocolates.
That's false.
So I basically showed up with my resume. I was all feeling all plucky. Just had dropped. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a job at a Michelin starred restaurant. And pulling it back like a year before that, I was on a plane to San Francisco, and there was a video of Meadowood. It was like a small promotional, like visit Meadowood in the Napa Valley, and like a promotional video. And then Costa was in the video, and there was a huge, just like a line. You know how they do like the conveyor belt for the events where they like plate the dishes? They were doing that in the video. And in my head, I was like, man, if I could just be a fly in the wall here, if I could just steal some corner of responsibility and just be a cog in that wheel, it would be so great to be there and be a part of this, this institution. So cut to a year later, I'm like, this is my chance. I'm going to do it. So I go and knock on the door. I drop off my resume with, it was Costa's office, which I didn't realize. So I dropped it off, and he had an office assistant there who wasn't Jessica Shelton, someone else. I forget what her name was, but
Nicole Smalls.
Maybe she had a Eastern European accent. I think she might have been Russian.
Crickets.
Yes.
Oh wait, was she sommelier?
No, not her.
Okay.
No, not her.
Not Victoria.
Not Victoria. No.
Okay. Never mind. All right. Anyway, moving on.
So I drop off my resume.
You walk in, and she's like, "What is your business here?"
It's essentially like that. I'm like, "Hi, I'd like to, here's my resume." Walk out the door feeling great, and then, I hear some footsteps outside of the restaurant, and then I'm walking with my back towards, and I turn around, and I hear Martina say, "Spencer Horovitz."
Martina Costa.
Martina Costa.
Right.
Turn around and say, Spencer Horovitz, and I turn around. I'm like, oh fuck. And then she's like, do you want to come in and talk for a second? And I was like, great.
Yeah.
So she brings me in. I'm like, great. She seems nice, amazing. Yeah. This is a great win for me. And then I come into the office, and fucking Costa's sitting there in the chair like this. Let me do the Costa.
Give you Godfather vibes.
Let me give you the best Costa, guys. Kind of leaning back. So Spencer, you work for Alon Hall.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, I did. I feel like there was a microphone there for that to speak into. Yes, I did.
You work for Alon Hall.
You work for Alon Hall, huh? And then, no, you know what Martina said? She's like, oh, you work for Alon Hall. And then I was like, yes, I did. And then Costa was sitting from the back of the chair. He's like, Like I dated my wife for like 6 years or whatever the time was. And I was like, shit.
You're like, I'm not getting this job
I'm
on
like,
account
oh,
of dating history
boy.
over here.
And then he's like, all right, well, I'll give you a shot.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up. And then I staged there for like a month. I remember, and I was so fucking stressed out because like I was hanging like little note cards with personal aspirations on my wall, like pressure makes diamonds, and because I fucking knew I was in over my head. Like I was like, I basically talked my way into this position.
Yeah,
like,
you did,
just
man.
on fucking on.
That, I will say,
vibes
man,
alone.
you came in, you staged for.
Do you remember
like
any of that?
3 days.
Yeah, straight. Yeah,
straight. And not only did you do that, you started at 6 in the morning with the morning crew, and then finished with us at night.
Oh, that's right.
That's
on
what
Deep
you
Clean
did.
too.
Yeah,
We
you
got out there like 11:30.
yeah, you worked doubles, and that Saturday,
for like 3 days straight.
you left it. You were undeniable.
Yeah,
You worked so hard that they were like, we have to give this guy a job because we can't sleep at night if we don't, because he's worked so hard for us. So
it was.
shout out to
crazy.
you, man. You're one of the greatest stagiaires I've ever seen.
Shut up.
Yeah, man.
No way.
For sure.
Thank you. That means so
Yeah,
much.
man.
Honestly,
There's
the
a lot
places
of
you
people
worked in.
that can't walk into those situations, make the best out of how they're being treated, let's be honest,
Yeah.
and fucking plow ahead and get a position with the Yankees. I mean,
Yeah,
you're the
it was.
best
That's
fucking
what it felt
restaurant.
like to me. What I didn't realize, what I eventually realized, that like this is like a pickup game. You know, this is like, you know, you're shooting basketball, and then like Steph Curry comes up and he's like, "Hey man, you want to play with us?"
Yeah,
But every single game is the championship game.
exactly. Every day is game 7.
It's game 7.
That's right.
You know, so it was one of the hardest and most rewarding experiences of my life.
Mhm.
Working in that kitchen,
Mhm.
working in the morning with Eloy, and who was the guy who broke his back? And
Horacio?
Him and fucking Eloy in the morning were like fucking machines. It was so
Yeah,
it was
man, they'd
crazy.
get so much
They
stuff
would
done.
Eloy would like run around
Yeah,
the
they would
kitchen,
run
like,
around,
jog,
yeah.
like literally jog,
Yeah.
and like he would send me to like be on break, and he would like eat a little power bar and like keep peeling asparagus like through his break. It was just so honestly, like I don't really
He was one of the best cooks I've ever worked with.
amazing,
Yeah,
so
Eloy's
insane,
really good.
and like a fucking tyrant too, like whooped my ass like in the best way possible. Like
he
got me in
roasted
fucking
your
shit.
ass, didn't he?
Dude. Oh my god, he's the one who would like lean in my ear and be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah.
Or like I would be like walking with a sheet tray, you know, and he'd be like, "Let's go! What are you doing?"
Dude, yeah. He would call people
Which I
out from
think-
across the room.
Which I think
so
about
embarrassing.
all the time though.
So
Now when I'm
embarrassing.
like, when someone's kind of like casually walking with the sheet tray, like don't run, but like, the fuck are you
Let's
waiting
go.
for?
Yeah,
like, come on,
exactly.
man. Like, you know.
Yeah, playing with tenacity, just being like
Yeah.
a 110% always. How
Yeah.
you walk, how you talk.
Everything.
Honestly,
he would tell
it
me to
was-
like what to, you know, how to stand. Like,
yeah.
He told me there's this one time we were folding towels, and like we would fold all the towels in the morning, and like we would listen to Manu Chao and shit like that, like all this dope music in the morning, because the bakery team would be there, get there
Yeah.
like 5 o'clock in the
Doing
morning.
croissants.
Yeah. Oh my god, that smell still to this day.
Shout out to Lupe, best
yeah.
croissants
Hell
out there.
yeah.
Meadowood.
So we'd be folding towels, and I liked this one long towel that somehow got mixed in. So I had
Yeah.
it on my little sign. He's like, "Why do you want that towel?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, why do you want to stand out? Why do you want to be different? You know, with this towel thing." And I was like, and that's when it kind of clicked. I was like, oh, that's what it takes here. You know, I was like, you have to work really hard, but no one's really supposed to stand out too much as an individual.
Yeah, it's a team effort.
It's a team effort, you know, and it's like that.
You
level,
don't outshine your mates. You
No,
bring
no.
them with you.
No, you're not
Yeah.
trying to be like that. And it was just a really crazy experience working as the AM cool me there, because it's like you're in a cold room for 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, you're in a little refrigerator.
In a little, like picking herbs and like staying focused through all that, and like you have to be. I remember fucking charcoal day. That was the worst.
Fridays,
dude. Oh my
by right.
god. When charcoal would come in and they'd
Yeah.
bring it in on like a flat
An entire
bed,
pallet.
and there was no, I would always be like, why can't we use a fucking dolly? But for some reason we were like, no one was allowed to like use a dolly.
Oh yeah, Meadowood has. Yeah, they were very territorial about their equipment.
So like, and I would see them in the load and be like, bro, we can
Can we
make
just
one
use
trip.
one of these?
And we would have to like, you and me would put
Yeah,
like literal trash bags on over our chef coats.
yeah, that's right.
And then carry these like 25 pounds of charcoal, like run like 2 blocks to throw them into the shed.
Throw 'em into
We're
the
literally
shed.
like running with these suits on. It felt
Yeah.
like boot camp or some
Yeah.
shit. It was, and then you would just
remember.
like go right back to your prep,
Yeah,
and I would be fucking exhausted.
yeah,
And that was the pace there, you know. It was really,
yeah.
really
We were
inspiring.
always running.
Yeah, always running.
Yeah,
Don't walk.
yeah. We were like ducks.
Yeah, it was insane.
Elegant on top, running on the bottom, baby.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
But I remember those days like just so formatively
Yeah.
because I knew, and like full disclosure, like my ADD is pretty bad. You know, like it's always been when I was going to school, I was taking medication. I've never done well in school. I had to get my GED
Yeah.
because I just dropped out of high school. It's just being in classrooms was so difficult to like stay focused, not call out of turn, like be organized. And I think a part of why I like cooking is that it gives me that structure in my life in a way that I was never able to give myself.
Yeah.
You know, and but being in Meadowood, it really put a magnifying glass on that for me of like, wow, there's this thing going on in my life that's getting in the way. And it really came to a point where like it became challenging to work there because I didn't know how to organize myself. And it got really difficult. You know, I was doing great as AM co-me because there wasn't like a lot of all of the organization and time management was external, right?
Yeah.
There was a list. I did great off of a list, right? Eloy, and there was a point when Horacio injured his back, so it was just me and Eloy, and we were fucking crushing it in the morning.
Yeah, you
like
guys
it was
were.
just me and
Yeah,
him
you guys were
doing like 5 people's. There's normally like 5
Yeah.
stages there, and it was just me
That's why
and
you got
Eloy.
moved up to dinner.
Yeah, because I was just like,
They're like, man, this guy's crushed.
he's fucking
Bring
crushing
him
it.
up.
Yeah, bring him up. So I was
The bullpen.
tableside. Yeah, oh my god, working next to. I would prep right in front of Costow.
Yeah.
Which was real fucking stressful.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Because like I have like baby deer ankles. I'm all wobbly. I'm fucking like, you know, like it's all over the place. It's a mess. And then like, you know, so Costa would work right in front of me, and I did the tableside commis position, which was like you would run food half of service, you would prep half of service, and like run food half of service. So you had to like be clean and presentable and not fidgety and like weird at the tables, which
Don't be weird.
don't be weird, you know? A little hard to be weird or to not be weird, you know? Like I'm like real level 10 focus and anxiety and like at nervous energy, and to do that at a table, you're like, excuse me.
Yeah. Of a dish you really don't know anything about.
No idea. And I'm just like, what is in this? What? It's lamb from Emmy's Ranch. Emily's Ranch.
Amy Ranch.
Yeah, right.
Shout out to Martin Amy.
Yeah.
Out there in Dixon,
Amazing
California.
fucking lamb. Some of the
Amazing
best
lamb.
ever.
Shout out.
So I worked tableside commis, and then I kind of like moved to like the pastry too. And I can remember everyone that worked in that kitchen. Dalton worked in that Dalton Thomas, Richard Wang, Carl. What's Carl's last name?
Carl Alexander.
Alexander. Yeah.
He came from EMP early days. He worked with James Kent.
So
Carl
like
Alexander,
incredible.
talented.
So worked all these. Everyone had worked all
I mean,
these
Dalton
restaurants.
too. He worked at he was the pastry
Indewolf,
chef,
right?
Yeah, he worked at Indewolf. He was the pastry chef at Ansu in China, the opening pastry chef.
Yeah.
Like
Just
really,
people who are like so incredibly
Yeah,
talented. So
yeah.
it's I highly recommend
Miles,
Miles, who's like the
executive chef of
child
Ansu.
prodigy of
Yeah,
like
he's
of
literally
Canada.
is, man. He's one of the most talented people. Just raw talent. Like
of just like because he did that program in Spain where he
Yeah.
worked all over.
he
and,
can do anything, man.
Yeah, it's
He can
crazy.
honestly do anything.
So just being around people, it was such a great learning environment. Being around people who are so much more talented than I was, you
Mhm.
know. But it was getting to the point where like my own struggles with like ADD and like learning disorder stuff started to get in the way a little bit because I had to self-organize, which I was never really good at, you know. And I was taking medication at the time, and the medication wasn't really helping. It was just making everything in my circle was like level 10 important. I didn't know how to say like, okay, I can do this project later. Let me do this first. I just didn't know how. I was still like developing that skill set.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, really, really challenging. And you know, God bless Chef Kat and fucking John, because they really fucking believed in me. And like, I told myself like, I'm gonna work here for as long as I can until I can't work.
Yeah,
here
Chef
anymore,
John
you know?
and Kat definitely. They were on Team Spence. They were like Spency Wency going, get it, let's go, baby.
And like everyone, all the line coaches would come over and try and fucking hype me up and like
Yeah,
give me words
dude,
of advice. Everyone wanted me. I just didn't have the skills to work there yet.
We were rooting for you for sure.
Because for the entire time up until then, I had been working while going to school, so I never like got my ass kicked at a restaurant, which is I don't think I communicated that at all to anyone.
No,
I was just like I was just like knew how to talk and like got my way into the restaurant.
But at the end of the day, I think that like we learned something from it.
Yeah,
like you taught us something that like you know you came in there with almost no experience and you were able to hang for a little while and you got on a station.
Yeah.
That was a really strong thing for the younger guys that were in there.
Yeah.
Be like, wow, this guy's coming in. You know, where we like think we need all this experience to go.
Well, I can understand how it would be now. It'd be so frustrating to see me with like no experience really at that level and talent doing at your level. I can understand why some people could be like frustrated by that. I totally understand. You've committed your life to this. You're an incredible cook, and here I am like fumbly wumbly, like doing all the, you know, making a scene, but like talking to the chefs and trying to like get in with them and like getting attention from the chefs, you know, how that could be frustrating, you know.
What was the tell the summer squash story?
Oh my God. Okay, here we go. So this is obviously we work at a farm. We work with the farm, and they would have 50 pounds of squash, 100 pounds of squash, like all the time, right?
Every other day.
Every other day, and we were using it in staff meal. We were using it on a dish. It was used a lot, but mostly we would roast like the big donkey squash for staff meal, right? And it got to the point where everyone was roasting squash for staff meal. And, you know, I think the first person to do something different, like Mark Liu made like, Mark Liu, who's the pastry chef at Cezanne.
Pastry chef at Cezanne.
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
He made like squash fritters. And I was like, that's smart. Make, you know, a little action.
Breaded squash. Okay.
Yeah. So he did that. And then, you know, it was great. Kind of passed the eye of Sauron, you know. And then Dalton was making carnitas. And he was like, okay. And Chef Cat was like, no more fucking roasted squash. Chef doesn't want to eat any more roasted squash. He's like, you guys are creative. You can do better than this. So Dalton's making carnitas, and he's like, all right, I'm going to make carnitas. Here's this vegan carnitas spice mix. And I'm like, sick. Okay, I'm going to make vegan carnitas. He's like, use the squash. And I'm like, okay, I'll make vegan carnitas. Never clicked in my head. And I'm like, how would I do that? Okay, I guess carnitas you would roast in the pan first and then kind of braise maybe.
Yeah.
So like, I'll just roast the squash. I don't want to hammer it. Perfect, most incredibly cooked roasted squash of your life. And I'm sprinkling the squash, the spice mixture on. I'm like, I think I'm fucking up here. I think I've made a huge mistake. So I put it in the hotel pan for staff meal. I walk over to the pass, you know, and I put it in the hotel pan. And from across the room, Chef Cat and Chef John have already seen what's been going on. They're like, this is a train wreck. We can't stop.
Yeah.
So Chef Cat walks over to me. She's like, she looks at it and she's like, hey, Rich, can I borrow some cheese? Can I use some cheese from your station? He had this like queso fresco that he was doing something with.
Yeah.
So we're like, and then she comes up, she's like, we're just going to zhuzh it up. We're just going to zhuzh it up. And Chef Cat is one of the in the kitchen, like at that time, was one of the most intimidating people.
Oh, 100%.
Ever.
Still
like,
is, bro.
Yeah. Like,
you know,
such a badass, such an incredibly talented woman who you never wanted to let down or
right.
fail. And she came up to me and like, she had nervous energy of being like, oh, we're just going to zhuzh it up. I'm like, why are you talking like Rachel Ray? I was like, she's nervous. That's a problem. So we put like cheese on this hotel over this squash to make it look like a football field, which to this day is like, why would we even was like putting it in lines, trying to make it look like something it wasn't. And then Costow, I knew he was coming in because like his red solo cup was
in the yep.
Yeah, that's
throws
when
his
you knew.
Keys in the drawer.
Yeah, boom,
Ching.
he's in. He's got his little thing. He walks up with his little binder under his arm. He looks over at this and he like has a quiet conversation with Kat, which I don't know how they did that. They had these like sub-audible conversations like to themselves. Looks over at me, looks at the squash, and he's like, from across the room, this is the only time that man has ever yelled at me. And like, literally, he's never raised his voice.
Yeah.
You know, I was just at a different time in the restaurant. Like, I think he was like, I don't need to yell at this kid. I don't need to yell at this kid.
Yeah.
And he looks at me dead in the eyes like, I am the law. I was like, he went full Judge Dredd on me.
Yeah.
Like
over some summer squash.
Squash. But I was like, and I run over to like the blender to try and start blending the squash. I was like,
what the fuck?
He's like, too late for that. And I just remember I was like, man, I roasted squash. And I like had this whole fucking And like, you know, honestly, like it's, you know, so it was just like things like that, just being like clearly outclassed in a lot of ways.
In Chef's defense, we were having squash
every fucking day, you know,
a lot of it every day.
But you know, it was just as far as exposure goes, such an incredible learning experience, and I still keep in contact with like everyone to this day. I remember how kind of blood was in the water. Like I was like, okay, I'm probably gonna get 86 from the spot at some point, but I'm gonna fucking live it up while I can.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, ooh, you gotta kick me out, you know. So they told me, you know, Howard Coe left to go to like be the chef at Goose and Gander. And he hit me up on Facebook Messenger. He's like, hey man, how's it going? Real nice, you know. And he's like, if you ever want a job, let me know. I'm like, that's weird. He hit me up. I must be doing, you know. I'm a commodity. People are hitting me
Yeah.
up for jobs. Little did I know, it's like he knew I was probably gonna like get shit
You're
canned
like,
soon.
I'm a hot boy.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I told Chef Kat, I was like, yeah, isn't it weird? Howard hit me up about a job. Ha ha ha. And she's like, huh, that's weird. And then literally 5 minutes later, Howard texts me in all caps. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you ever tell Chef Kat I'm trying to poach you? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't, the idea had gone so far over my head. I
Yeah.
had no fucking clue what was going on. It was just fucking hilarious. But she, oh, you know, she would like shoot me a text. Cause like Costa sat me down. I was like, look, man, I don't think you're going to work out here.
Right.
But Chef Kat thinks you're going to do a great job. Like he was like, she believes in you. I think she's making a terrible decision.
Yeah.
Which in reality, like I wasn't going to overcome.
Yeah, man.
I wasn't going to fucking change, but I was working as hard as I could every day.
You were doing the best you could.
That's what to me is like, feels like
So
we made it a great
That's
situation.
why when you left there, I was like, there was no hard feelings of
No,
like,
of
oh,
course
he
not.
failed. Like, trust me. I seen
Yeah.
motherfuckers shit canned from there, and you were not the worst. You know what I mean?
I mean,
person that got
honestly,
shit
I'm
canned.
fine. I was always fine being the worst cook in that kitchen because of my peers. My
Yeah.
philosophy is always like turn your idols into your rivals.
Mm.
You know, and it's like I knew I would have my own restaurant someday. You know, and like I knew that this was just a step, and like it was inspiring. It's fucking sucked first, but like it was really inspiring now when I look back at it, like just to have been in that circle and to exceed any other restaurant I ever go to
Yeah.
will never be like that kitchen.
No,
Standards
I-
wise.